What is going on, everyone, and welcome into Expected Bets for your go-to podcast for all things hockey betting. I am Gator Betting, joined by my two co-hosts today. We got Gretzky Betskis and Franco the Banker. The team previews, we're continuing to pump them out. We got the Carolina Hurricanes. We're into the Metro Division at this point. Another interesting team with high aspirations this season. Finished with 99 points last year, second in the Metro. Lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, which seems to be their kryptonite, 4-1 to the Florida Panthers. Let's start with the offseason additions here, Betsky. Nikolai Ehlers, they bring in Keandre Miller, two kind of big names that Keandre Miller is probably going to get settled on that first pairing, and Ehlers is going to be on that first line. So what are your initial thoughts on their offseason additions to try to get this team over that hump?
Yeah, I mean, these are some nice moves. Keandre Miller brings a lot of youth to the blue line, but has still had a couple years under his belt. Kind of a nice two-way defender that leans a little bit more on the offensive side, and that's something that this team kind of needs, especially since Brent Burns is gone. He's kind of bringing a similar play style as Burns can bring, especially like later in career Burns. But Ehlers is another nice piece, speedy. Kind of north-south type of winger here. This is a team that's been looking for more skill in their top six, so they definitely got to add some significant pieces without really losing anything that's all that noteworthy. So I think this is a team that on paper, everything is better than last season, and they were good last season.
Franco, we talked about their key offseason additions, the subtractions as well. I think the big issue, though, for this team remains in net. We talked about it a little bit before the show, but Anderson and Kochetkov still have had, especially Anderson, have had injury issues. And I think that's kind of the one glaring piece that if this team's not able to get over the hump, they can point to these two guys.
Yeah, it's funny. This team has been consistently a top team in the East. I feel like it's been like over and over again, repetitive, constantly top of the odds as far as season in, season out goes. And the one thing that hasn't changed is in net. I mean, they got rid of Ranta a couple of years ago, but Freddie Anderson running them back again. It's like, I don't know, man. I feel like they need a shakeup there, and they still haven't really done it. They acquired Caden Primo, but I don't think he's really going to play over Kochetkov and Anderson. But it stinks. Like I feel like a couple of years back we were pretty high on Kochetkov, and last year he didn't really do well, at least by the standards we thought he had. Now, is he a guy that is in a bounce back situation maybe coming into the season? Do they continue to run Anderson is their number one, but again, we know Anderson's going to get hurt at some point, so it's kind of that constant worry as well. I mean, Kochetkov's only 26, so maybe he finds that form that we thought he had a couple of years ago and can be that number one. I think that's the biggest question mark here for this team because, like Betsky said, I think everything else on paper right now looks good. The defense looks a little bit better than it did last year. I feel like the loss of Burns and the addition of Miller just kind of improves that blue line and adding more speed. I mean, they added Stankoven last year in season, and now you're adding Ehlers. That's some good speed to a good veteran group.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the playoff props in a second, but Kochetkov is at 23.5 wins and Anderson's at 21.5. So they almost think Kochetkov's going to be the starter for this team. Looking at some team futures, the regular season points is set at 105.5 on DraftKings, 107.5 on FanDuel. To make the playoffs, they are minus 1,200 for yes. I think we've kind of penciled in them for the playoffs at this point, especially in a weaker Metropolitan division. But we can get into props. The division winner at plus 130, conference winner at plus 380. They are second behind Florida, and Stanley Cup winner at plus 800. Betsky, any of those props interest you? I think this division comes down to two teams, which we can get into a bit later. I see Washington as regressing a little bit this year. I think Ovechkin's big send-off, or whatever you want to say, I think kind of overshadows them this season in terms of kind of playoff contention. I don't see that team winning the President's Trophy again, or having the success they did last season. So what are kind of your team futures that you're looking at for the Carolina Hurricanes, if any?
Yeah, well, I mean, Washington's going to be an interesting one to talk about at the end of the Metro here. I have a lot of mixed feelings on them. This team, however, I would prefer the under on that point total. I actually think this division's probably a little bit more competitive than it was last season. I think that the Rangers won't be such a circus this year. I think there's some teams that are potentially taking another step up. Well, I guess there's teams like Pittsburgh who are probably really, really sinking too. So I don't know. The team's better on paper. They had 99 points last season. I just don't feel like they're, nearly 110 point team though. I think there are going to be adjustments if Keandre's the top defenseman. I think if there's goalie struggles here, could spell out disaster. And while the forward group's better, there's still not enough like oomph and game breakers on this team to me. Like that's where this team really struggles in my mind. There's not a guy who can just win you the game outright and just take it away when needed, or a guy who can completely shut down another team's top defenseman. I know Slavin's here, but after
like a Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And there was all the rumors with Marner too, which would have been kind of that. And I realize that my comment about Slavin's totally inaccurate. I guess that's your game breaker here, and that's just not the same as a Makar in the back end though, or a Quinn Hughes as a game breaker. Yeah, you can stop Jack Hughes all you want with him, but at the end of the day, I don't know if he's the one who sails your team past overtime. And until that happens, maybe it's one of their prospects that kind of becomes that, or they package something together to do another Rantanen type trade, but this time keep him. This team feels kind of like the best of the middle teams out there.
Franco, any division or team futures, jump out to you?
Yeah, I think the division winner at the price is not that bad at plus 130 if you were going to do anything. I don't really want to do the point totals just because you're paying minus money. Plus 130 feels all right for division winner. I don't really know who is better than them, at least in theory, from this division. Now, they could have that kind of reaction that most of these teams have that are multi-season playoff teams where the regular season doesn't matter that much. It's more just getting into the playoffs. We've seen it from Tampa in the past. We've seen it from Florida where, getting to 110, 120 points doesn't matter as long as you're going into the playoffs healthy. So that's my only worry about them winning the division or going over their point total. Like they're going to make the playoffs, right? Like it's pretty much a done deal. So it's more about getting in healthy and then actually winning a series or 2 or 3.
But to play devil's advocate, Florida and Tampa are teams that have proven that they can turn it on in the playoffs. Carolina has not been one of those teams.
Absolutely. I know. I mean, it's just one of those things. I don't really know what the solution is with this team. They went and got Gensel the one year. He didn't want to come back. They went and got Rantanen. He didn't want to sign. So they've made efforts to bring in that kind of next level star talent to really juice up the team, and it's failed. And I don't know what the solution is for this team, unfortunately, because they really need that game breaker to really take them to that next step. And I don't know. Do you just accept the fact that the player's not going to re-sign for you and make another trade like that and just hold them through the playoffs and hope you can get to the cup?
Yeah. Any awards that you guys want to touch on before we get into some player props? I went through the list. Nothing really jumps out to me besides maybe the Calder race. But again, it's tough for a defenseman to win that award.
Yeah, I thought Nikishin looked good last year in the playoffs. He didn't look completely out of place, so I could see him being good for this team. But as far as a Calder bet on him, you can't. You have to be some sort of next level player, and I think with the players that are in the pool for for Calder, it's tough.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if he jumps up on that first line, he's in a battle with Keandre Miller. Maybe he can take more of an offensive approach behind him, but that's kind of the only way I see him being able to generate enough points to even put himself in the conversation.
I just don't know if this team scores enough for any of it.
Yeah.
This has always been a depth team. I mean, this is the problem with betting this team in general. The last couple of seasons is like they have great depth, so because of that, you don't have top point producers, top goal scorers, and all that fun stuff that comes with these more high-flying offenses, and that makes winning awards a lot more difficult.
In terms of player props, Ehlers is listed at 64.5. Sebastian Aho is listed at 75.5. And as I mentioned before, Koshedov at 23.5 wins. Frederick Anderson at 21.5 wins. Koshedov did have 27 wins last season at 47 games played. Anderson had 13 wins in 22 games played with the injury. I would lean again to Koshedov over 23.5 wins this season. We've seen Anderson get hurt continuously over and over again. And I don't necessarily think if they're going to run this 1-2 tandem, it's going to last throughout the entire season. And say Anderson gets hurt, is Primo going to be able to pick up that workload that Anderson is? No, I don't think so by any means. You're getting, 3 less wins for Koshedov this season. That would be kind of my only look in terms of a player future for this team. I don't necessarily know how Ehlers is going to click on that top line with Aho and Svechnikov. I don't necessarily trust Aho. I know he had 74 points last year. Previously, he had 89, 67, 81. So he's hit this total before. But any player futures that jump out to you, Betsky?
I like that Aho point 175.5. It seems very reasonable for him, especially if you think this offense has improved or if this team becomes a little bit more offense minded, especially with the way the blue line's built. So yeah, I actually like that one. I mean, the price isn't sexy. There's kind of no way I would try to boost this up in any sort of capacity either if you have those options. So if you don't mind laying a season-long bet for minus 115 on Aho points, I don't think that's a bad look. But I guess keep that in mind. Like, that's going to be your guy to kind of use for point parlays if you dare. I mean, Aho has completely wrecked me in a betting world season after season, whether that's shots or points. We were saying before, it's like you look at his chart. He's up against the Islanders, who he's hit his shot or point prop in like 14 out of the last 16 games, just missed the last time they played, and you are ready to dial it in for the mega parlay you built, and he's the only one who misses, and it constantly happens. So I think I'm in a divorce with this player. I
mean, we know his season-long points total is listed at 75.5. If we go 4 points further, 5 points further at 80-plus points on FanDuel, it's plus 170. He's hit that before in 2 of the past 3 seasons. Maybe that's where you look with this team. If you're really dying to bet Sebastian Aho props, you just have that itch. Yeah. Franco, any props for you?
So I finally found the unders. Before you broke down the show, I was talking about how this is a team I prefer unders on. One of the players I wanted to look at was Svechnikov, but they're not giving me his points under, unfortunately. But they are giving it for Nikolai Ehlers. So, yeah, he's the big addition for this team. His line set 64.5 points. Now, he's a guy that can produce, but he has never gone over 64.5 points in his 10-year career. He has only played 3 full seasons in those 10 years. Mm-hmm. We know the risk with him has always been injuries. This is a very similar team to Winnipeg as well, more of a defensively sound, not a high-flying offensive team. So it's not like he's going to Colorado or something like that where you're like, okay, he's moving into a more offensive role with this team. I think this is a very similar situation to Winnipeg. And if you're telling me his career high was 64 points back in 2017, last year at 63, a pretty good season as well. Yeah, I don't mind taking that under 64.5. Just you're talking about a guy getting his career high in his 11th season in the NHL that has injury concerns.
Yeah. All right, we want to thank everyone for watching this breakdown on the Carolina Hurricanes. If you enjoyed this preview, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our NHL betting previews, props, or picks all season long. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ExpectedBets4 for more daily betting content. We appreciate everyone for listening once more, and we will talk to you guys later. See ya.